I'm Lynn.
Tanya, and we are from investinyourselfcourse.com.
Yes, ma'am. So we're going to do another podcast on self-sabotage, but today we're going to take that and we're going to do a positive spin on it.
Ooh. So
we're going to take the last few weeks of discussion and try to put a bit of a positive spin on it. This kind of, we did the session 2 of the level 1 and 2 kind of mashed together. And this kind of was a spin off of that because there was something that was said in there that really kind of snagged my ear. And I was writing this. I actually have other notes here that I wanted to do today for the podcast. And I wasn't feeling it. And then all of a sudden I actually pulled out a book that you had for the level 2, which was the Embrace Your Magnificence.
Did you?
Fredrickson. So I pulled that out and basically let the law of attraction kind of go at work. So I just started flipping, found some stuff, and started writing it down.
Okay.
And it felt really, really good.
Very cool.
Self-sabotage. We're all guilty of it, right? We've explained what it is in multiple podcasts. We'll just briefly describe it again if you're a new viewer. So basically it's creating excuses as to why not to do something, why not to pursue something. Mm-hmm. All right. So when you have a self-sabotage, do you want to explain what
experience?
When you experience, do you want to explain what causes self-sabotage?
Resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance, and why we experience resistance is because of the fear that we experience when we're stepping out of that comfort zone that the ego so desperately wants to keep us in. And and that's all, like, if you're not aware of all of this, then it's happening subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
You're stuck in a place and you're trying to move forward and you can't figure out why you can't move forward, why you keep sabotaging yourself.
Yeah.
And usually it's resistance caused by fear.
Yeah. We also touched on this in last week's podcast as well. We did a 2-parter last week, and we also said that self-sabotaging is like it's almost like an addiction to failing, right? Yeah. So it's an addiction to failing or an addiction to a fear of success. There's a whole bunch. Anyways, so there's excuses as to why we put resistance, and we find these excuses. So it comes in all forms.
I just want to add one more thing to the failing, quote unquote failing. If something doesn't work out for you, it also is a sense of relief.
Yeah. Right?
Because you're kind of like, oh, well, it didn't work out, so I don't got to put the hard work in. It's not my fault that it didn't work out. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's and so it gets you off the hook. So that's definitely a form of resistance, and it's definitely a form of all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So excuses that people come up with as to not to do something. I don't have enough money to do that.
Yeah, there's not enough time, there's not enough money, I'm not strong enough. Like, these are all limiting beliefs, right? Like excuses, yes, but they're also limiting beliefs. Like, there are many people out there who truly, truly believe that there's more than enough time in the world to do whatever it is that you want to do. And there's more than enough money. Even if they don't have a lot of money.
Or a lot of time.
People perceive things differently, right?
Yeah. So those are those were some of the reasons that were stated in the book. I like that you added the fact that it was a limiting belief, because that was not in the book, but very, very true. Mm-hmm. The quote that I read and that I kind of really, really like is, "Fear knocked on the door, faith answered, and lo and behold, there was nobody there." Right? So when you hear that quote...
I haven't heard that one.
You've never heard that quote?
No.
When you hear that quote, basically it's, if you're going to stand up to it, and this is what we kind of talked about in the level 1 and 2 last week, was if you stand up to the fear and it goes away. So it's not there. And then you're like, well, what the hell was I so scared of in the first place?
Yeah. So for me, a big eye opener for me was realizing that fear, because forever I thought that fear was something to overcome, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a big eye opener for me realizing that fear isn't something to overcome. It's something to face. You learn how to face fear. And because you're always going to have fear. You're always going to experience fear.
It's always going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what a lot of people, when the fear kind of kicks in, and this is when people kind of go, whoa, like, and then they'll either whoa. So that's where people will like pull on the reins and say, okay, and then they'll find an excuse as to why not to do it. So when an opportunity is knocking at the door, and we had talked about this, and this is actually in the top 10 quotes, like how many rocks you're looking for an opportunity. And when you find that opportunity, a lot of people, well, it's one of two things. Either you'll run for it or you run away from it. Right?
Yeah.
So the questions that she was saying in the book is, what's going to be the end result of that opportunity? Is it going to bring you closer to your goal? What experiences are you going to get if you were to accomplish it?
Okay. Or
go for it? And will it bring you closer to your end result goal?
Okay.
That makes sense?
No, it does, yes.
Okay. So what ends up happening is when people...
Are the questions we want us to ask ourselves when we're presented with an opportunity. What if it's an opportunity in disguise? What if you're like, oh, I don't know if that's an opportunity or not? Like, are we talking about ones that
it could be anything. Yeah, it could be an unaware opportunity as well. Because if it's an unaware opportunity, the thing that happens with those is that it's a gut feeling at that point. It becomes an instinct. Like, intuition? Does it feel good to go for it? Does it excite you? Does it spark you in some way? Does it whatever? Or does it completely throw walls up and there's red flags all over the playing field? Like, then do you know...
Well, if there's red flags all over the playing field, but in your mind makes sense, that's when you have to figure out, like, do I want to follow what my head says I should do, or do I want to follow what my gut says / intuition says? Like, how is that going to make you feel? Because ultimately, everything that we're sharing with you has to do with the law of attraction, right? Yeah. And the law of attraction states what you think of persists. More than that, what you feel persists. So if you think this is a logical, realistic, practical decision, regardless of how I feel, you can make that decision and go that route, but what are you feeling? What are you putting out there?
Yeah.
Recognize your intuition.
Yeah.
That gut feeling, I don't know why, that feeling, it's actually called intuition. and you should listen to it.
Okay, so when you have those opportunities, if it's like, I don't know, if it's something that you feel like it's going to drive you and push you and maybe just kind of hop out of that comfort zone. You had said something about leaping, about that intuition, about jumping. You don't necessarily know where you're going to jump, and this is where a lot of the fear lies, right? Is that unknown. So on Facebook today or the other day, I posted a picture of a fish leaping out of a bowl.
Okay.
And then one of our level 1 and 2 posted something about, oh, my fish did that. And then, I had to flush it down the toilet because it died. That's kind of the fun part. If you actually want to take it into that context, but kind of go into non-literal form of that, the fun part of jumping is never knowing where you're going to land. You might land in shit. And you might not.
Yeah.
And if you land in shit, that's a perfect opportunity for you to learn how to build a freaking raft and a new platform to jump off of again. It's an opportunity to paddle through it and then jump off and try to find somewhere else to land. Okay. Because not every leap is going to be the best leap. Because if you do it out of fear for a specific way, like, oh, I should do that, but you're not sure, but I should maybe, and then you do it, it's not necessarily going to line up for you if you're kind of in that.
Yeah, but how the hell are you going to learn any other way?
Exactly.
Right? Like, you can't learn staying safe.
No.
I mean, you can learn certain things, but you can't figure out what.
So if that fish is trying to jump into the ocean, say, I don't know, take Finding Nemo when he jumps out and he's rolling his bag down to the ocean. You know what I mean? Like, the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you're willing to jump and you're willing to let the chips fall where they may, then you might actually land in something really, really good.
Like not shit.
But I mean, I just use that because it's a really good thing of like, you just kind of get stuck, right? Like you just fall into it.
Yeah.
And then, but it gives you a chance to really learn how to grab other tools to get yourself out of that.
Yeah.
And so it's a good learning tool.
Good.
Another quote that was in the book, nothing is impossible with a willing heart. And that's kind of flows right into that. If you fall in a pile of crap, nothing is impossible. You can get out of that if you truly want to find a way out. If you have that want, that goal, that determination.
So, for instance, the project that I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
If I really think about it, if I think too much about everything that's required to do this, there's no effing way I'm going to do it.
So how do you get around that?
You know what I'm doing right now? I'm just like, this is what I want to do and I'm going to do it. And I'm just going for it. And I'm telling as many people as I can. One, to hold me accountable. Okay, I put your money where your mouth is type of thing. And two, if anybody has any insight for me or assistance, then they'll be able to bring it forth. I'm not going to keep it quiet because it's a big dream. It's a big project. And I'm going to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I feel inspired, the more to do. So basically how I get through it is I don't think about the complexity of it.
Yeah.
I just kind of take one step at a time.
So you would like create action steps.
Oh, yeah. I would do that.
Because if you have a big dream, to break it if you were to you would crumble under the weight of that. You would just. So if you break things down into stepping stones, those stepping stones add up to your pyramid of success. So you always have to start small. So no matter what opportunity is knocking for you, no matter what dream you're kind of going for, if it's that trip around the world, if it's that job, if it's that whatever, then you have to start with a pebble. So how do we turn all of this self-sabotage stuff into a positive twist?
How do we do that?
How do you take that self-destruction of your wants and switch it so that it becomes possible? Well, one of the stepping things is to start small. Whatever it is that you want, it is to start small. Break it down. If you have this one major goal, that's your up here goal. I wish we kind of had like a chart so we could do it. One up here goal, that's your big guy. Okay, you got to like piece it off so that it gets attainable. And then you start with your bottom row and you build that. And then you go up, and then you go up, and then you go up. And everything eventually spiders off, and eventually you get to the point where you get to delegate some stuff because it's too much to be able to do it all in one shot. So with LDF, I've been able to delegate some stuff. I've been able to give some hours to some coaches. I've been able to give you some work to input in my computer. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're able to delegate stuff because it's too much to attain by yourself. So you use your support teams. You lay that foundation down. So that's a big positive thing that you actually can have. You attract the people that you can really, really trust and lean on. Just remember one thing, guys, when you guys are doing your action steps, when you guys are facing that resistance, when you guys are facing that self-sabotage, that whatever resistance that you guys are feeling, Joan of Arc had the best quote ever. I am not afraid, I was born to do this.
Ooh.
Okay? You're born for it. You're there. So be brave, be strong. Don't underestimate what you do for people around you. And embrace who you are.
And I mentioned that in one of the classes too, right? It was as simple as that. Like, where would people, like, what did I say? Something about, think about what you do on a regular basis that you don't even try to do. Like, what type of, like, what difference do you make in the lives of people around you? Like your children's lives. Like, you have an important role to play in this life for people, right? For other people other than yourself. For people other than yourself.
For people
other than you and that stuff like that. But it's true, right? Like, it's just so you acknowledge your importance and your worth to the people around you.
Yeah.
Because we take that for granted sometimes. It's not that we take it for granted, but we're not aware of it.
Yeah.
So
you guys, you're all rock stars in your own way, and it's just
rock stars.
And you always have to remember that you do impact people's lives around you. You constantly, on a daily basis, everybody's life would not be the same if you weren't part of it. There's something you do to that person, good or bad, I guess.
There's people. Is that my fault?
I don't know.
There's people in my life that think I'm the biggest nerd for doing these videos, and they giggle and they laugh at them because they call me a big nerd. But I'm like, if I let that stop me, how many people out there who are really getting stuff from this information?
Yeah.
Am I gonna let down? Do you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's got to be important to you, and not everybody's gonna be on board with what you do.
Nope. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Let them do whatever they got to do.
Do what you want.
Just do it.
I don't need you.
I don't know. All right, so that is this week's weekly Monday podcast.
Yay.
Okay. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.